Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Omobolanle Adeshui. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday inaugurated the 36-kilometer dual carriageway of Owerri-Orlu Road in Imo State. Buhari was earlier welcomed at the airport by the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, and other dignitaries dressed in white outfit and red caps. The president, in his visit to Owerri, is expected to inaugurate other projects by Uzodimma. And in Lagos, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has arrived for the 2022 edition of LCCI's Private Sector Economic Forum for the 2023 presidential election holding in Victoria Island. The former Vice President is also expected to hold a stakeholder meeting with some PDP stalwarts in the state. The chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Ebonyi State University Chapter, Dr. Ikechukwu Egwenyi, has urged the union's national leadership to go back to the drawing board and review the 2009 agreement it entered with the federal government. This was as the Dawn stressed that the 1.1 trillion naira outstanding revitalization fund for the nation's universities was no longer tenable, saying the current economic realities did not match the hitherto pact the union entered with the authorities in 2009. He stated this in a statement on Tuesday in Abakaliki, while pointing out that it was expedient for leaders to pay critical attention to the merit of ASU's position on tertiary education. He lamented that the government was paying lip service to the demands of the union. And students under the aegis of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Southwest Zone, on Tuesday blocked the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Shagamu interchange in protest. The protest is in reaction to the prolonged strike action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. In a statement issued to the press on the protest ground, signed by the coordinator and public relations officer of the zone, Adegboye Emmanuel and Giwa Temitokwe, the students said the federal government, led by President Muhammadu Buhari, was failing in its promises to revamp education. The statement partly read, quote, "History has been killed and undermined, so we the youths do not know where we are coming from, not to talk of where we're going to. But we will not lament anymore. The new leadership of NANS is here to work with students to achieve our set aims and objectives. We believe that the student movement has its place in history. It is a task we vow to fulfill. We will never let Nigerian students down." End of quote. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has reserved judgment on an appeal filed by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, seeking to quash the terrorism and treasonable felony charge the federal government preferred against him. The IPOB leader, who is currently facing trial before the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja, had approached the court to appeal to query the legal competence of the charge pending against him. He is praying the court to review the April 8 ruling of the trial court, which struck out only 8 of the 15-count charge, insisting that the charge federal government entered against him had no basis in law. He is also urging the appellate court to order his release on bail, pending the determination of his appeal. Though the appeal was initially fixed for October 11, following an application the embattled IPOB leader filed for abridgment of time, the appellate court brought the matter forward for hearing. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has delisted 1.1 million fresh registrants ahead of the 2023 general elections. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, said this in a statement on Tuesday. He explained that the ABIS for 15th January to 31st January 2022 is almost completed, noting that several double, multiple, and ineligible registrants have also been detected and invalidated. These include entries that fail to meet the Commission's business rules. The Commission takes this responsibility seriously because a credible register is at the heart of electoral integrity. According to him, INEC will display the voter register once the process is concluded. Thereafter, valid registrants will be added to the existing National Register of Voters before publishing same nationwide for scrutiny, claims and objections by citizens as required by Section 19, Subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, the INEC official said. And now to the Africa scene, where Uganda has paid the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, $65 million in reparations for the invasion and looting by Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, during the Congo War between the late 1990s and 2003. This conflict involved up to 9 African countries, including Uganda and Rwanda, which supported rebel groups in the mineral-rich east of the country. On Monday, Uganda's Finance Ministry spokesman, Apollo Muginda, confirmed the news, which had been announced by DRC's Justice Minister during a cabinet meeting on Friday. The UN's highest court ruled in February this year that Uganda should pay its neighbor $225 million for loss of life, $40 million for property damage, and $60 million for damage to natural resources. The money is to be paid in 5 installments of $65 million, starting on September 1 this year and every September 1 for the following 4 years. And William Ruto was sworn in as Kenya's 5th president on Tuesday, a week after the Supreme Court rejected a challenge by his defeated opponent in a close-fought election that he won by portraying himself as an underdog hustler battling the elite. The village boy has become the president of Kenya, Ruto announced at the ceremony as the crowd erupted in cheers. The 55-year-old won last month's election despite a public repudiation by the outgoing president, Uhuru Kenyatta, who said Ruto was not fit for office. Both sides heard accusations of corruption during a deeply personal, acrimonious campaign. The peaceful transfer of authority will burnish Kenya's democratic credentials in a region where some leaders have held power for decades. Ruto pledged to immediately swear in 6 judges nominated to the Court of Appeal 3 years ago and make the police financially independent from the president's office and stick to Kenya's plan to produce 100% clean energy by 2030. The United Nations World Food Programme, WFP, is planning a food relief program targeting 700,000 people in Zimbabwe from October as the effect of a poor harvest and the Ukraine war continue to show, an official says. Zimbabwe's government is working with agencies to provide food aid for 3.8 million people, the WFP said. The southern African country has been struggling to feed itself since 2000, when former leader Robert Mugabe championed the seizure of white-owned farms to resettle landless black people. Zimbabwe's government has said it expects its staple maize harvest to fall by almost half this year to 1.56 million tons from last season's multi-year record of 2.72 million tons due to poor rainfall in the 2021-2022 growing season. The country requires 2.2 million tons of maize annually for human and livestock consumption. WFP said it had budgeted $40 million for the food aid program to cushion millions over the peak of the hunger season from October, when poor households run out of food stocks, to March, when harvesting starts. Rising food prices, coupled with higher fuel costs after Russia invades Ukraine, have driven Zimbabwe's inflation from 61% in January to 285% in August, undermining President Emmerson Mnangagwa's efforts to revive the country's economy. And now to the foreign scene, where King Charles arrived in Northern Ireland to welcome from hundreds of well-wishers on Tuesday as he leads the mourning for Queen Elizabeth across the United Kingdom before his mother's coffin is flown to London for 4 days of lying in state. After a silent vigil attended by Charles, his sister Anne, and brothers Andrew and Edward at St. Giles Cathedral in Scottish capital Edinburgh, on Monday, people queued overnight to file past the Queen's coffin. Charles is traveling the full part of the United Kingdom before the Queen's funeral on September 19 in Northern Ireland. He landed in Northern Ireland from Scotland, where he followed the Queen's coffin up Edinburgh's Royal Mile and was joined by his siblings for a 10-minute vigil at St. Giles Cathedral. And Elizabeth died on Thursday in her holiday home at Balmoral Castle in the Scottish Highlands at the age of 96 after a 70-year reign, plunging the nation into mourning. And that's it on News Now. Coming up after this break is Entertainment Business News. I am Omobolanle Adishi. Many thanks for watching.